primary ignition.
But what is aggregate supply? I'm Dr. Michael Morbius from the hit 2022 film Morbius at your service. Let's take a look at this graph. Aggregate demand and aggregate supply are very similar to the supply and demand curves you know and love. Aggregate supply is the given supply in a certain scope, in this case, the galaxy. Aggregate demand is the sum of all consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports of an economy. On the y-axis, we have the price level. On the x-axis, we have the quantity, real output, and employment level. Price level is the cost of a fixed basket of goods the average person might purchase. When the price level is low, people tend to buy more things.
Fill with regular, please.
Will you be having anything else?
Yeah, can I get some camels?
Sure.
Thanks.
You got it, boss.
However, when the price level is high, people are less likely to purchase goods and more likely to look for alternatives.
Thief! Thief!
Aggregate supply and aggregate demand can be impacted by a variety of factors, including technology, the environment, income, and even the expectations of a population. For example, if people believe a recession is coming, they will save their money, reducing consumption spending and causing the aggregate demand to shift to the left. Since the price level and output of an economy are determined by where the aggregate supply and aggregate demand curves intersect, a leftward shift of the aggregate demand curve will cause a decrease in the real output, employment, and price level. In order to remedy this, the government can attempt to increase aggregate demand. This can be done by decreasing taxes, which increases disposable income, or by increasing government spending, which plays a large part in a country's aggregate demand. The aggregate supply of an economy can be impacted by changes in the production capabilities of an economy, in this case, the destruction of Alderaan. This would be considered a negative supply shock. This would cause a leftward shift of the aggregate supply and an increase in price level, along with a decrease in employment and real output. This is not a good thing. Economists disagree on whether it is possible for a government to remedy this combination of unemployment and inflation, commonly called stagflation. But I have something to admit. I haven't been telling you the full story. It's time to reveal to you the true way of things. Aggregate supply is actually two different curves. But why do we have two aggregate supply curves?
Sup, Mikey, I'll take it from here.
Thanks, Garfield the fat cat. I needed my blood fix anyway. Did you know I need to consume it to survive?
Yeah, Mike, I'm well aware. Go get a life, you freeloader. Stop exploiting non-exclusive goods. Short-run aggregate supply is the upward-sloping curve that you've seen before. It represents how the capabilities of an economy can change in the short run. Long-run aggregate supply is a vertical line at the natural rate of unemployment, also called full employment. Full employment doesn't mean everyone has a job, but it does mean that none of the unemployment that exists is caused by fluctuations in the business cycle. Long-run aggregate supply can only be changed by large-scale events, such as the invention of new technology or the permanent destruction of productive capital. In the short run, it is possible for an economy to operate in a capacity beyond its long-run aggregate supply. Government spending can increase aggregate demand to the point where SRAS and AD intersect at a point that is to the right of the LRAS curve. However, this causes firms to have to produce more than what their resources should allow. They hire more workers, temporarily decreasing unemployment, and these workers have to work very hard to produce the optimal quantity. This leads workers to demand higher wages, shifting the SRAS curve to the left. Since the input of labor is now more expensive, they can't make nearly as much for the same price. We're back where we started, but at a higher price point. This is just one of the many things that can impact AD, and many factors can also impact SRAS. My point is, production and employment will always return to the natural rate. Let's imagine a world in which something awful has happened. An apocalyptic event has made it so there are only 3 people left in the workforce. They all want a job, but only one will get it. Due to the decrease in LRAS from the apocalypse, the natural rate of unemployment lies at 66%. Only one job remains. This is the true nature of full employment. Mondays don't sound so hot anymore, do they?
This sucks. Econ doesn't make any sense.
Economics, the most dismal of all the sciences. While chemistry, biology, physics, and the universe at large have been boiled down to a few widely accepted theories, economics remains mysterious. Who gets what and why? Can we or can we not help everyone live a long, prosperous life? Ask anyone who calls themselves an economist a single question about economics and you'll get a different answer every time. Malthus believed that the human population would grow faster than the food supply, dooming humanity. Since his time, the population has doubled nearly 3 times, yet the rate of famines and starvation has dropped. Malthus was completely wrong, yet his theory was extremely popular for many decades. Economics has a problem, and that problem is that we can't predict the future. But maybe we'll be able to in the future. Who am I to say? The dismal science, the science of unlimited wants bridled by limited resources, the science of economics, is still very much a mystery. If anyone claims to have it all figured out, take it with a grain of salt, or the whole shaker.
Arigatou gozaimasu!